Welcome to the Divorce View Talk Show. Hi, it's Joanie Winberg, Certified Human Behavior Consultant, Divorce Mentor, and CEO of the National Association of Divorce for Women and Children. Of course, my fabulous co-host is Rosalind Sadaka. Hello, Roz.
Hi, Joanie. Thank you so much. I'm Rosalind Sadaka. I'm recognized as the voice of child-centered divorce and founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network for Parents. And I'm a divorce and parenting coach. And I'm here today to introduce our wonderful guest. Her name is Joanne Simmons, and Joanne is a singles dating and relationship coach. She also has an extensive background as a psychotherapist who's been in practice for many years, and she's the author of a wonderful book. She's going to talk to us today about all facets of dating after divorce, which even if you're not ready to face that facet in your life, it's going to be coming ahead. So listen up, because we've got some really valuable information, and she has 5 tips that are especially important for you to heed before you move out in the dating world. And if you already are in the dating world, then you'll want to pay special attention to these, so you'll understand where you may be going wrong and simplify the process. So welcome, Joanne.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
It's
We're having some technical glitches tonight, so we're not seeing Joanne right now, but we're hearing her loud and clear, and that's most important.
And we have a beautiful silhouette of you, Joanne. So, so Joanne, I'm sure our listeners are thinking, okay, what's these 5 tips that I need to know about to avoid the pitfalls of online dating? And would you say this applies to people just starting to date, or maybe people that have been trying to meet their soulmate, so to speak, for a long time and are going through the high numbers of finding the right person? Kind of clarify that for us.
Sure. I'd be happy to clarify that. I think it relates to each and every person who is looking for their soulmate, or that special relationship that they want to attract into their life. Right now, I would like to address the people who have just recently been divorced, and then I'll bring the conversation to a more alive, or more centered on the area where people who have dated a lot and have not had much success.
Right.
Yeah, these principles really relate to both.
Okay. Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
And the reason I'm so excited is I have a great passion to spread love around the world, one couple at a time. And that has been my mantra now for many years, especially since I wanted to find my own soulmate. And a lot of what I'm going to teach people tonight has to do with the process that I personally went through, because I was single for 17 years before finding the love of my life. And we've been married now for 12 years, and I'm so grateful for this relationship.
That's great. And may I ask a personal question? Had you gone through, like you said, the high numbers and gone through everything to finally find this love of your life? It sounds like high numbers.
High numbers, lots of numbers, yes. I would say that. I would also say that I was married and divorced, so your audience are mostly probably people who have been divorced or are thinking of getting divorced. And I went through a lot of trauma and upset over my divorce, and that was part of the delay for me, was healing from the divorce itself and all of those factors that are involved in that process. And that's what I want to address. I want to address your listeners to be sure that this is number 1, by the way, be confident that you're really ready to date. When I say ready, I mean know yourself enough to decide if dating is what you need to do at this point in your life. And I'm going to backtrack a little on that statement, because I think that a relationship is made of 2 people. So when 2 people get divorced, both parties play a part in that drama, or in that link between each other. And it's important to really take a look and step back for a while, when the divorce occurs and when it's over, what has your part been in that divorce? I mean, it's two of you together. You joined one another thinking that you might be married for the rest of your life, and the relationship fell apart. And of course, this is something I had to look at myself. What is it in me that attracted a mate in my life that didn't work for me, and it was a very painful marriage for me? So what in me was not healed or was attracting somebody who was really not good for me? It was in a not good for me relationship. So I advise those people who have been through the divorce, what are the lessons, the life lessons you can learn by going through a divorce and having that relationship end?
I was going to say it's hard to look in the mirror, though. But that's an important step that if we don't do, chances are we might turn around and marry the person we just divorced, or quite similar, and maybe that's why divorce second time around the rate is higher.
Oh, great! That's a great point. My second tip is mirror, mirror on the wall. Who is the prettiest of them all? You know, I mean, and that fable, it really reflects the idea that you know, in the fairy tale, the person is saying, I want to know, am I the most beautiful? And the mirror is saying back to them, no, you're not. And we are attracting to us, if somebody's having difficulty with online dating, you're attracting to you that which you are holding inside of yourself. So if you have had a bad divorce, let's say, and you are really nervous about ever entering into a relationship that would work, you may be afraid of intimacy at this point, or you may not really want to fall in love again or give your heart, let your heart be open to loving somebody new. So it's important to really know yourself. Are you ready for dating? And what is inside of you? What's your true intention? And with a lot of my clients, I ask them to take themselves off the market for a while. I think it's very wise after a divorce to find time to really heal yourself. Learn how to enjoy those lessons that you learned, which may not be very easy lessons, but at least take those lessons that you learned about who you were in that relationship so that you can shed light on that, and then you can grow and you can learn and you can really create the next relationship or the next experience with a great deal of wisdom, because you learned by your mistakes.
And Joe, does the corollary also work that some people are too desperate to fall in love again and desperate to find someone, and so they're too quick in moving ahead and aren't really selective and making discriminating choices about what is best for them?
Well, that is exactly right. Oftentimes loneliness does drive someone into jumping into the dating field way too early before the healing has taken place. It's important to heal and to learn and to grow from your experience. That was a very good experience in hindsight for me. Now I've been married 12 years. This is my second marriage. It's been a wonderful experience. I've loved every year of my marriage so far, but that's because I really worked on a lot of the aspects of myself that was attracting somebody who was not going to treat me well. I was attracted to the bad boy, and so I was getting a bad boy. And what was inside the mirror? If I looked inside myself, I wasn't liking or loving myself very much. And that really does bring me to number 3, which is to align yourself and love yourself first. So if you're suddenly single, or if you find yourself single, it's important to get your feet on the ground and learn who you are. Who am I without that relationship? Who am I about making decisions? I remember buying my first car by myself, and I was like, oh, yes, I bought my first car alone. I did it, you know. It was such an empowering feeling. But if I had jumped into a relationship right away, I would have missed that, you know. It would have been another we relationship. And it just felt like it was empowering for me to learn a lot more about myself as an individual.
Joe, I was going to say, if people can get past that and give themselves a chance, I hear what you're saying, where if you can get over that loneliness and not let that drive you to run out quick and start dating again, but if you can have a view of the other side, that you're really empowering yourself by discovering yourself, coming up for air, getting off the back burner that you might have been on for 20 years. So, it's just beautiful what you said, because that's really what it's all about, to have the understanding that if you allow yourself to get on the other side, you're going to do those empowering things, like you said, like buying a car that you never would have experienced. So that's beautiful. That's great.
Many other things, manage my own money and buy my own house and feel what it's like to be a single person and develop relationships that are nurturing and caring. And, for me, it was great friendships with other women and being supported by them. It was wonderful. It was a great period in my life, and I would have missed it had I jumped into my next relationship. And granted, I was lonely. I felt like, gosh, I really do want that other partner, and yet I hadn't really learned my lessons yet. So number 4 is shape your future by leaving your past behind you. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you are dragging your past, let's say you have an ex who is an angry ex, and that person is still not over wanting to call you on the phone and talk to you at all different periods in time, and is not really letting you go. Let's just use that as an example. It's important to get clear that has to end. That has to be over. That string or that tie to your past really needs to be put to rest. And if somebody needs therapy or divorce recovery or some way to help with that piece, then please, by all means, do it. Remember that it's important to clear up your past before you can move into the future. If you're bringing a lot of baggage from your former marriage into your next relationship, then nothing has really healed for you, and you may be repeating the same exact pattern again.
I like to use the analogy of someone who's running forward with arms open towards their new exciting partner, and they're running towards you, but your head is facing backwards and you're looking in the other direction. So one part of you is going forward, but there's a big part of your energy that's looking behind you to that past relationship. And you can't have a productive, clean, clear future with someone new if that part of you and so much of your energy is going backwards. So that's such an important point to make for people, and thank you for stressing it so much.
Well, I love your analogy, Roz. That's awesome. And I know that it's important to create a future that is as clearing out as much baggage as possible, so that your past is in your past, no matter how painful or upsetting or even beautiful. I mean, whatever those words are that you might use for your past, it is in your past. And to create a new future is to clean up any of the baggage that's left over from that former relationship. So tip number 5 is to create exactly what you want in your future.
Let me just stop you here to make one important point, because, as you know, my focus is divorce and parenting. And so I want to clarify for those who are listening, because if you're a parent and you're getting a divorce, the reality is you never cut your ties with your ex unless they're a horrendously bad person. But the agreement is that you're going to try to co-parent and stay in your children's lives in the best possible way. So I want to just clarify, because it doesn't negate what you're saying, Joe. What you're talking about is the emotional connection toward an intimate personal relationship with that former partner. And that is being cut. You are now creating what's more looking like a business relationship with your ex. And the business is, how are we going to parent these children in the healthiest possible way for the children's sake? So your relationship changes its form. It's not an emotional connection. You really want to detach and let go of the personal marital relationship and now have a business partner who loves and cares about your children, and you talk to them differently, you communicate with them differently, you respect them differently, and you have to find your footing there, and that's why coaching in that regard is important. But I just wanted to make sure people weren't confused with the message you were giving, because it's still valid regardless of whether you have children involved or not.
And also, this is probably a great time, Joe, for them to know or have a chance to meet you through your website. What would be the website for people to go to as well?
Okay, thank you for asking. It's soulmatecoach.com.
Okay, so soulmatecoach.com. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Roz. That was an excellent comparison and clarity, and providing that clarity for us.
Yes, I do want to thank you, Roz, for that. It's absolutely true that you have to shift your relationship.
Yes.
It goes from one kind of relationship to the other. And I have counseled people who have not made that shift. If they're the one who got left, or the one who got divorced, or they're angry about having been left by a partner, they may still be holding on to, oh, I want that person to come back, and one day they'll open their eyes, and many other types of fantasies. So part of it is to really get clean and clear of the romantic ties and the interwoven pieces, and actually grieving the loss of a dream, because the dream was we'll get married and have children and live happily ever after, and that dream becomes, it falls apart. So it's important to get as much support as you can to clean and clear up anything that's left over. That is important, to have your heart and your mind clear and ready to move on, and also ready to learn some lessons about who were you in that relationship.
And I love the way, Roz, you really clarified it, where it's like, it's a business now. We've got these kids, and this is the business. So we're connecting through business, and yet the emotional part's gone. And Joe, I love the way you're saying you have that clarity to move forward and really get to know yourself. And yet you were saying move forward. Don't forget the past as far as what you learned from the past, so that you don't make the same mistakes, but yet move forward. And I think, Roz, you were getting that too, not to look in the rearview mirror, but move forward. Yet we got to learn from the past, right?
Yeah, the past gives us wonderful lessons, and once we learn the lesson, hopefully we can then step into our future, a clean and clear future. Okay. And my tip number 5 was create exactly what you want in your future. So to do that, it's important to get ready to be a more powerful person as a single person. This is where I go with it. Learn how to empower yourself and love yourself. Self-love is really at the root of all of this. And clean and clear up any stuff that may have gotten in the way of your previous relationship in terms of your attraction level. So let's go back to mirror, mirror on the wall. Supposing you have low self-esteem, well, it's important to clean and clear up that self-esteem, is to get more love and more appreciation of yourself, especially self-love, so that you're not looking outward to find your happiness. The happiness lies inside of you, so that you're not looking for this next partner, quote, to make me happy, but you're looking for the next partner because you feel like a whole person, and you met another whole person, and together it's, wow, man, we are great together.
Mm-hmm. And Joe, because your background is being a therapist and being a relationship coach, tell us about some of the consequences when people aren't taking your advice in these 5 steps, and they're moving ahead too quickly, or they're not doing the healing, or they're not really loving themselves and paying attention to that. What are you seeing as a result of that when they're not paying attention to this? What happens?
Okay, Roz, that's a great question. I've met a few women lately, and it's been almost like a run of women, a number of them, beautiful, just stunning, and very good at their jobs, actually quite quite elevated in terms of their careers. They're really interesting people, and you really love to talk to them. But I was really shocked to hear what was coming out of their mouth. And one of the things they would say is, man, there are absolutely no good men out there. I mean, I've been online and I'm not finding a single one. They're all really losers and blah, blah, blah. And, you know,
We hear that all the time, too.
Yes. That's why I'm laughing, because I'm thinking, oh, yes.
No.
Yeah, what are they mirroring? These beautiful women, what are they mirroring? They're mirroring their feeling of lack and not worthy of finding a great relationship. There's a deep belief in there that, oh, I'll never find anybody good for me. They're all taken. All the good men are taken. And it's important to nip those negative beliefs in the bud and to love yourself more and to get more nurturing and reinforcement and start to change those attitudes and that kind of an outlook, because that's what you're going to get back. If you're saying there aren't any good men out there, you're going to get some not such good men coming into your life. You're a mirror, and you're attracting what you're saying exists out there. If you change that and you're saying, you know, it only takes one person for me to find my soulmate, and I know my soulmate's there, and I'm going to just love my life meanwhile. I'm just going to have the greatest time being a single person, having so much fun, and I will come across my soulmate sooner or later. That's a different attitude than there are no good men out there.
It's all about the mindset, I think. So it's definitely the law of attraction. You know, you're putting out the negative and the lack and all of that. That's exactly what you attract back to you, like you said, the mirroring. So if you have the positive mindset, you know, I remember one woman said, you know, I guess I am pretty good after all, you know, and so she started believing in herself and having that self-confidence, and then, you know, she started attracting different people.
Also, can I just add that we need to give people a chance. Sometimes we get so arrogant about feeling that there's no one worthy of us that we dismiss really good partners and make superficial judgments. Sometimes you need a date or two or three to really determine whether this is a person worthy of talking to you, and some people are more shy and they don't open up until they get to know you for a while. I've seen too many women dismiss fine men, good men, high-quality men because they were looking for something with too limited a scope, or they didn't meet the height and weight parameters or something like that. And so, you know, it's important to realize that we're going for quality and character, and that's going to give us a better long-term relationship success. Wouldn't you think, Joe?
Roz, I would agree with you about giving people more of a chance, but if the attitude is, you know, this one's not good for me or that one's not good for me, that's what's going to keep showing up. Yes. They're going to attract that. Yeah. It's an inside job. It's who you feel you are on the inside, and and it's some limiting belief going on inside of them that's attracting that kind of attitude to be flashed out on the stage of life.
Something, Joe, that we talked about before the show, and you were saying these women, we talked about some women have been dating like 40 guys and they can't find the right one. And so the question I asked you is, who's the common denominator here? And you know, should we be now looking more in the mirror to say, you know, 40 guys, and I keep saying that it's all of them, I keep pointing my finger to them, but yet you were saying you don't always hear women or men in whatever situation is. You know, maybe I need to look in the mirror more because I've gone through high numbers and it might not always be them. So that goes along with your mirror.
Yes, thank you for that clarity. That was excellent. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Joe, I would really like you to tell us about your book and courses and what's available that in your world that people can get access to.
Oh, thanks, Russ, for that. I've taken many years of working with clients who are single, and I've compilated a lot of their experiences to put together a book and an e-course, actually, where somebody can start at the beginning and work through a lot of these processes we're talking about here tonight. I have a course. It's called 10 Steps to Your Magnificent Love Relationship, and it's very clear. It's a process where somebody can go through each of the steps, take a look at themselves, find out where they are, how they're being a mirror, and how to change that. I give them ways to change that, and learn a lot about themselves in the meanwhile, and get a chance to visit some of the areas that we're talking about, and beyond that, actually how to get ready and how to attract that ideal partner into their life.
Right. And how do you find that?
It's at soulmatecoach.com.
Excellent, excellent. So we'll make sure everyone knows that soulmatecoach.com. Easy to remember.
Thanks.
It was really, it was just a pleasure to have you on the show, but also I value all the tips that you gave and a lot of information that can help people be clear about finding that soulmate.
Yeah, I just wanted to double check. Do you also do personal coaching? I
do one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching. Yes, I do. Thank you for asking that, Roz.
How do people find you for that?
The same way. Go to soulmatecoach.com, and there's a box there that they can fill in, and I offer a free 30-minute consultation to see if coaching is for them, and to give them something over the phone that would be helpful for their particular situation.
Oh, great.
So it sounds like you customize it too, which is nice. It's great. So, Joe, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure our listeners have gotten a lot out of it as well, the listeners.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have a parting message you want to leave us with?
I would like to say that creating a new life is possible. Not only possible, but you can create a beautiful new life and a new love life that is unlike any you've ever had before. So your future is very exciting. Just follow some of these tips, and I wish you the best and hope that you will find your soulmate as well.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Joe.
Joanne Simmons, we certainly appreciate your advice.
And go to soulmate.com, and also you can see this show again if you'd like to watch the archives, and that is divorceview.com. And while you're there, you'll see some great programs that Roz has to support you, and some of the programs that I have to support you. So you can certainly go there and learn all about the different things we have, as well as watch the show again. So thanks so much for tuning in to the Divorce View Talk Show, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.